This year seems to be a year of big upgrades and slimming competition with smartphones, and the Galaxy Z Fold7 is one of them. This is the slimmest foldable that Samsung has ever made at 8.9mm thick when folded and 4.2mm thick when unfolded. It has finally caught up with the Chinese competition and even brings over the Galaxy S25 Ultra's 200MP main camera that significantly upgrades its imaging capabilities. But disappointments such as the small 4400 mAh battery and no S Pen support make it look like a deal breaker. But is that really the case? Watch on to find out my thoughts about the Galaxy Z Fold7 after using for a month. Anyone that holds the Z Fold7 for the first time is going to have a wow moment because it instantly makes the other Z Folds feel obsolete. The 6.5-inch cover screen feels more usable than ever as a regular smartphone, and the expensive 8-inch internal screen elevates productivity and media experience better than before. And yes, the internal screen got a little uglier with that visible punch hole camera, but I am glad that it is finally a much usable 10MP camera that looks great for shooting casual table vlogs and video calls. Despite the slimmer form factor, what really annoys me is that the thick camera bump on the back, because the phone wobbles terribly when you put it on the table. See, if you try tapping here, sliding down, it just wobbles. So it's really bad when you try to do like swiping on the screen or even scroll your Facebook feed. So it's not something that I do all the time, to be honest, but yeah, at some point, I think it gets really frustrating unless you use it in flex mode. The Galaxy Z Fold7 is a pretty robust device. I've dropped it a few times on the floor while using a pretty cheap TPU case and it thankfully survived. But this is also all thanks to Samsung's armor aluminum frame and the ultra-thin tempered glass on the internal screen, which kind of the reason why it has sacrificed the S Pen digitizer. Though the phone is still not entirely dust-proof as it still has the same IP48 dust and water resistance rating, which I think is a missed opportunity considering devices like the Honor Magic V5 has IP59 and the more recent Pixel 10 Fold even managed IP68. However, despite its hardware durability imperfections, the Galaxy Z Fold7 makes it up with an unrivaled software support with up to 7 generations of Android and 7 years of security updates. And when it comes to foldable software, the competition hardly comes close to Samsung's polished One UI software and Galaxy AI, in which I really love how well Samsung has made optimizations on apps and multi-window support on the large internal display. I also continue to love the improvements Samsung has done on Galaxy AI, such as its generative edit features, Write Assist that once helped me converse with a client in Spanish, and best of all, Google Gemini now works directly with Samsung's own apps. Such kind of integration is all possible all thanks to the close relationship to Google. However, despite these great features, the drop for S Pen support on the Z Fold7 is hard to ignore, as the iconic stylus is still really important for precise object selection on screen even when you don't really use it for writing or drawing. And to use my stubby hands for doing generative edits on the big screen is just so unintuitive and not so accurate when the S Pen can do a much better job. And for that kind of compromise, I'd rather have the Z Fold7 be a slightly thicker phone just to have that digitizer back on the phone. With the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy processor, the Galaxy Z Fold7 doesn't disappoint in performance and has slightly better performance than other foldables with the same processor with its slightly faster clock speeds. But with such a thin form factor, Samsung wasn't able to fit in a vapor chamber and use a graphite shade instead for cooling, which results in worse sustained workloads and wouldn't do well in things such as recording videos and gaming for extended periods. But for users who multitask on the phone such as opening apps in multi-window, it will have no issues holding that up, which is really important. For many generations, the Z Fold has been stuck with a slightly inferior camera system than the Galaxy S phones. And to have that 200MP fitted on the Z Fold7 this time is a big deal for a lot of people because it is a camera that you can depend on taking really good photos, whether it is in a business conference or during your travels. Though it is still unfortunate that the ultra-wide and telephoto cameras remain the same as before at 12MP and 10MP respectively, which, to be fair, they take reasonably good looking shots. One thing I really have to give it to Samsung is the great power efficiency and software optimization it has done on the Z Fold7, which allows the 4400 mAh battery to push up to 5 hours of on-screen time with moderate use, and it has pretty good standby times. But when it comes to extreme heavy usage such as shooting photos under the hot weather, the battery dips really badly, and it is when you wish Samsung had fitted a large silicon carbon battery in the Z Fold7. What's even worse is the slow 25-watt wired charging, as it takes more than 90 minutes to get it fully charged from single-digit battery levels, and is particularly annoying when I want to quickly unplug it in a busy day. Even with the imperfections, I love daily driving the Galaxy Z Fold7, as the thin form factor really makes a lot of sense to me, as I can use it as a regular smartphone when I don't need to use the big internal screen, and it doesn't weigh down my pockets. Not to mention, it has a much better camera than before and a polished software experience that still continues to beat the competition. The Galaxy Z Fold7 is one foldable phone you really got to try if you're still holding on to a slab phone and still being skeptical about foldables, because to be honest, this thing will really blow your mind. Alright, so that's all for my thoughts on the Galaxy Z Fold7 after using for a month. I really love it, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos coming right up, and I will see you in the next one.